Hey everyone, I'm Kyle. I'm here with JP and Cassie from the guards themselves. Last week's video was the guards themselves part 3, and these are the comments from Libertiness Fink. Dang, this is getting really good. Also, how did you guys get those security outfits, and how many of them did you have on set? We had 3 total. Next episode, we did like a duplication thing where there's, I think, 9 of them in one shot, or like a couple different shots. But yeah, that's why we designed them specifically to not have faces, so that we could just have whoever was available be in them.
There was a lot of people. I didn't even
Joey
know some of them.
wore them a lot.
Joey was most of. Joey was half of them. I was actually in a. I was the one that hit you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Which one?
In that parking garage?
No, in your scene where you guys were being arrested, and I hit you from behind.
Oh, that was
me.
you?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I remember also on that prison day that I was there, you stuck Shannon in a guard costume.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
She was one of our camera operators. Ended up being in one.
Yeah.
That was the day we couldn't find black pants. We had this huge delay because we needed black pants.
Yeah.
That's what it was. We were trying to find black pants, and then Shannon was finally like, "I'm wearing black pants."
Also, like before I even left,
Yeah.
before I even left my house, the day of filming, I get a call from Shannon. And she's like, "Do you have black pants?" I was like, "I might."
Okay, you hadn't shown
She's
up
like,
yet.
"Bring as many pairs of black pants as you have."
I remember at the end of that day, I wasn't even able to explain to people why we were doing things. Like, I felt like a terrible director for the end of that part, but I was just like, "We just do this. It works. Trust me. Don't question it. Just do this like this, and I'll put it together later, and I'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it."
I think it worked out.
So yeah, that was trying to. I mean, we were there for like, the main cast and crew were there for like 8 hours that day. I think it was a full day.
But y'all had been shooting for a long time before I got there.
Yeah.
Apparently. Y'all are both wearing black pants.
We are.
Okay. Halsey says, that virus part was hilarious. This was awesome. Cool.
There's the guy in the office who's got
Him.
computer
Okay,
emails.
yeah. He actually kind of looked like I'd seen him somewhere before.
You might have. He's been in a few commercials and stuff.
Oh, nice.
I saw him show up in front of a YouTube video one day. But yeah, that was fun. He was really good at that part. I remember when we were casting that, it was only 3 people tried out for it. And we had one guy come in who was a really good actor, but to his credit was not enough like the character. And so we were like, that's probably him, but that's fine. I don't know. We'll see who else comes in. And then the second guy came in, and he was much more like the character, but wasn't really great at acting. And so I think it was me and Matlock actually was helping me out, and we were just talking like, what we need is like the last guy be perfect. If he just came in and was as good at acting as the first guy, and naturally liked the character like the second guy, and then he came in. That was him.
From the Papaya Gamer. Who was that at 7 minutes and 10 seconds? I think I may have missed something.
Oh, that was Bob.
Oh, the old man.
Yeah, the one who they captured.
I thought
away.
it was his grandpa.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, in real
Because he showed up at the premiere and he was talking to Kyle and like, "So how's school going?" And I was like, "Oh, is that your grandpa?" And he's like, "No, that was just the old man with the hands."
So I was rewriting the scene with you guys because it didn't quite make sense afterwards in the script. And we needed them to be capturing some random guy, so we just added him back in. So that's where it came from. I guess the distance was, he wasn't really prominent in the first scene, so it may not have been obvious, but in that particular scene, he was just a guy being transferred to the prison. From Mr. Maestro Man 101. He's a new one. Mostly it's just the same people every single time. Okay. Messier, Master of Stealth. I just put that in there to remind me to talk about Reed's ridiculous stealth maneuvers at the beginning of the prison scene.
Oh, that was great.
It's because that was all Reed the whole time. He just came up with, I think, all of that stuff, like his weird pose thing up in the door.
Gregory Lindman? Whatever. I'm sorry. You guys did surprisingly well with the fire effects. Most people really messed that up.
Thank you.
That's all Kyle.
Those were hard.
I'm assuming.
Thank you.
All Kyle.
Those are the last effects I did, and they were supposed to be done by somebody else. I remember back when we were first working on the effects, we were originally going to have somebody help named Bo, somebody Joey knew who also is friends with Freddie Wong, and so he was going to be helping with effects, but then didn't. I used Blender to render out actual fire, really crappy looking fire. It just has the motion down to it. And then I got a bunch of fire stock footage from my my stock footage pack that I bought a couple years ago, and just layered those on top of each other and had them cut in and out based on like how the fire is moving and everything. So, yeah, that's how that happens. It was I mean, it looks good. I think it turned out well. It just it has a really kind of roundabout way to make a fire effect.
From Moctezuma. The swearing was the best part. The sudden realization on the guy's part when he shouts, "This effer was in my building." I want to know what he said before that, though. I agree. That was my favorite part of like the whole movie. Just like that long ass beep. Are you gonna have to beep that?
When we first wrote it, we had just seen Arrested Development, and so there were a few little shout outs to Arrested Development in there, and I think that was one of them. That was from one of their early episodes. And Buster just goes on a tirade and does the whole long bleeped out thing.
That just comes out of nowhere.
I know.
It happens.
Well, in that whole scene, let me make sure I didn't include a comment about him. Oh yeah, so that was the scene with Sean also, which I find hilarious because everybody else finds it so hilarious. Because Sean didn't even want to be there that entire time. He's not like remotely, he's not acting. He's just there in the scene. Like nothing is going. I wanted Sean in the movie, and I was like, Sean, you're gonna be in the movie. And that was, I didn't ask him. I just told him he was gonna be in the movie, and then he showed up and sat there as Sean, and I was just like, say these words when he gets to this point, and that was it. That's Sean's whole part.
Well, it was very good. It was perfect. Really.
And it works really. Like I like that scene just because it's Kevin being all big and yelly and stuff, and then Sean just sitting there not caring at all.
Care at all.
Which I think makes the whole cursing tirade even better, just because it's so low energy right there for a second, and it just maxes out. The last comment's kind of a closing thing, so I guess before that, you guys have any just random thoughts?
I do. There's a comment from previous that I would like to read.
Oh.
I love JP as Mr. Justice. All of his lines are gold. Thank you, Chris Idiot. Chris Idiot, thank you. Alright, I'm good.
It's also my favorite part. Just being with you almost the whole shoot and then watching you say all those lines while I have like 2 words to say.
Yeah.
It was like the best thing ever. It's
You
like,
pulled off that character pretty well.
it was perfect. It was so good.
And I just had to be stupid. Like, I have no acting skills, so I just had to be stupid, and it turned out well.
Yeah,
You nailed it.
everybody did kind of get like sort of turned into a specific caricature, I guess. Like JP was just an idiot the whole time. I was just pissed off the whole time.
I was super annoying.
Yeah. And you were one of the few people who I didn't write the character for you, which I did
really?
with most of
Okay.
us, because it was that was where the idea came from, was like we should make a video, like try to make it as good as we can, but pay attention only to the stuff we currently have, so we don't have to get a whole bunch of extra stuff. So every character was written sort of for each individual person. So yeah, like JP is, I had seen him kind of act like a doofus in some other videos before that you had made.
Yeah.
So I was like, he'd be good at this.
Let's not mention that.
Well, I'm glad that you don't think I'm this annoying.
So yeah, no, I had written, like that part already existed, and then yeah, so you were cast for that one. You weren't cast. You and Thomas were the people I met at school, and then it was like they could probably play that part pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not an actress. I'm a behind the camera person, so. But it was fun.
Oh, Lincoln showed back up. We had Thomas
yeah.
back in this one.
Can't
Oh,
talk about
yes.
him now.
Yeah, I
He's
really
the
wish he had been
best.
able to make it for one of these, but he works like a normal person during the week, so he wasn't able to show up. But yeah, he was really good at that part.
He's definitely perfect.
He was the one that when I met him, I'd already come up with the character before I met him at school, and so when I first had a class with him, I was like, "You're my character, be in my movie, please."
He was great. That first exchange between you two, and he asks you to like come in for a beer.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite part.
Both of those scenes turned out so well, and part of that is actually because we filmed everything in that apartment twice. We actually did that scene first, and it ended up being our test scene because we hadn't had the cameras calibrated just right. Gary suggested doing this thing where we filmed the whole movie completely flat, so that it'd be easier to color correct later, which we didn't do. So I guess that wasn't quite as useful as it should have been. But yeah, the first scene we did, we were just kind of rough on the whole thing, and so it just kind of ended up being a test run. But because of that, it was the one scene we actually did a full rehearsal of. So the second time we did it, it was the smoothest thing I've ever filmed in my entire life because we'd already done the entire scene once.
Yeah, the
So,
comedic timing was on
that's why it
point.
worked out so well,
Yeah.
'cause-
Yeah.
So yeah, for
Yeah.
future things, I'm gonna try to do actual like rehearsals ahead of time because turns out they're kind of useful. When we were coming up with all the rest of the characters, me and Ian were just standing like out just in my house, walking around, talking about stuff. And at one point, I was motioning and looked down, and I had a penny in my hand. I guess I had picked it up at some point and hadn't been paying attention. I was like, that was weird. And then
There you go.
we were like, what if?
Something I noticed about Mr. Justice that I didn't really do on purpose, but it just kind of fits with his like narcissistic like stupidity, is he almost never makes eye contact with anyone. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
he ever looks you in the eye. He's
I
always
know.
just like looking out
I
there.
have to pull you and drag you and yell at you. Like, come
I
on.
never even what?
Hi.
I never even noticed that. That's a good point. That was actually one thing. Like it was, I like acting in things and I like directing things, but I don't really care for doing them at the same time anymore after doing that because I can't focus on stuff while I'm in the scene acting on stuff. And so, but it was kind of nice because then I would just notice things afterwards while I was editing. Just these little things that everybody did. Like Ian did a whole lot of just little details that he would throw into whatever he was doing that I didn't notice until I was cutting stuff. Like when he sticks the lint roller to his forehead after the explosion. I don't know if you noticed that. That was just something he did that I wasn't paying attention to. And then I got to the edit and yeah, I thought that was funny.
Oh, something I wanted to say. That fight scene of ours is amazing.
Yeah.
While we were shooting that, I had no idea what we were really doing. So seeing it all edited together was amazing.
None of us really knew what we were
I know.
doing. That was
It's crazy how like, let's just try this and do this and you'll get these angles and then it came together like amazing. I'm sure you edited for a
it
very
came
long
out.
time.
I mean,
but-
I like I mentioned before, it came out way better than it had any right to for
yeah.
for
yeah.
how shabby it was put together. I mean, we tried to make it kind of professional.
And I'm
But-
sorry that I hit you and like made you not be able to hear the rest of the day.
That's fine. I think in the original fight, I actually landed a few hits on you. But as I was editing it, by the time it was finished editing, I think I'd actually cut all of those out. Just because
Yeah.
it got funnier and I was like, what if I just don't hit her at all, actually? I just totally miss every time.
I had a question. It was like at the end of your fight scene, and it was like she says something about the magic bag, and then the electricity thing happens, and then she's like, "Looks like magic bag to me," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, you're an idiot." And then you like push her away or something, and does she just fall or like
She's supposed to
you just
try
get
to attack
away?
me and then I trip her was the intention behind that motion.
Yeah, because
Um,
it looks like she just kind of gives up. and,
Yeah.
like it wasn't really
It
clear.
was like cement, so I didn't want to like really fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposed to like be tripped.
Yeah, I fell down a lot in that movie.
Yeah, pushing you is fun. Pushing Kyle, if you ever get a chance
Speaking
to
of-
push Kyle, definitely highly recommend it.
Speaking of punching, I don't know if you've mentioned this in previous community comments, but the scene where, in my first scene, when I meet Ian and he punches me in the face, that's the sound you hear. That's the actual sound because he actually punched me in the face.
Yeah.
And it sounds so like comical and like fake, but that was the sound it made when he punched me in the face. The only time I was ever afraid for my general safety was the scene where I had to get tackled by Joey.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was scary, and we did it like 3 or 4 times, and every single time I was like, "This is it! Like, I'm gonna break my first bone."
Yeah, that's why stunt people make money. You know, like falling.
But
You don't think about falling being terrifying until you're suddenly having to make yourself fall, like
Yeah.
on hard concrete and stuff.
It's not fun.
And you're like, oh wait, this is a longer drop than I thought that'd be.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite
Yeah,
line that I said. You can't run forever, you snazzy
Snazzy
boxer.
boxer, yeah. That one gets a
Love
good laugh.
it.
That's good for a t-shirt. You snazzy boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been getting t-shirt requests. Keep submitting those. I've liked them so far. If you have any more. Reed suggested one that's actually Messier doing the weird pose,
Oh,
like in the
yeah.
door frame, just a silhouette of Messier just
Oh,
in the door
yes.
frame like that. So that'll be a fun one.
Oh, somebody said one that just says hi now.
Yeah,
I would totally wear that. So if you want to make that.
I'll try to add most of them. One guy, I don't remember who it was. One guy keeps pronouncing it Nolan in the comments for some reason. Which I don't know. It's like his name. That's the first text that shows up on screen in the movie. It's his name, like taking up half the screen. Okay, it's now just like not loading this thing.
But I remember the gist of the question.
The next one was from someone about something like, if we do more, are we gonna do them more like we do videos now where they're shorter. If we ever do end up deciding to do them, I'm honestly not sure exactly what they're gonna look like. There's definitely lots of different directions we could go with it.
If you do decide to redo or add to the guards themselves, I think
Yeah.
everyone would love it. So
Yeah.
if you did change your mind,
It would.
you
I
know
mean, it would
would
definitely be fun
good.
to
Yeah.
do it now that we know what we're doing more and kind of
Yeah.
make it look better.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Would you be interested in being in it again
Yeah.
if we did more of it?
Yeah, I would do it.
I want to do Mr. Justice again. I want to bring him
Fun.
back.
Anyways, I'm sure everybody else would be much more interested in it than me because they haven't been staring at it for for 2 years.
Yeah.
We're just gonna wait for me to catch up to everybody. Next week is the last part. Be part 4 of 4. Should be about as long as the other 3 parts, and then we have 1 month left of our year of weekly videos,
Woo.
and then we're all done. And then we'll be doing bigger, less frequent, but hopefully better quality stuff for a while after that. I don't actually know like what our schedule will be on it just yet, but the first video to come out next month is going to be the last Kerbal video, which we already filmed half of, and then we have sort of a wrap-up finale video that I may have mentioned on past community comments. I'm not sure because I think I cut it out of a few of them. Any final questions you have on the series, leave on this video or on next week's part, and suggest more merchandise ideas because I can work on those at some point and try to get those up. Yeah, I guess that's it. Anything else from you guys?
No.
Goodbye.
Thoughts on anything?
That was fun.
Justice!